I'm optimistic about climate. I'm optimistic because I know climate solutions exist, and all it takes is money, and I'm confident we can figure out a way to get enough. I know many of you feel powerless to solve such a giant problem as climate change, but it helps to think in small steps each of us can take to solve this giant problem. 10 years ago, if somebody told me I would complete an Ironman triathlon, which is 140 miles total of swimming, biking, and running, I would have dismissed the idea as impossible. Yet I did it. One stroke, one pedal rotation, one step at a time. The experience taught me that with motivation, commitment, and a like-minded community, things that you think impossible can actually be achieved. That's why I believe that together we can solve the climate change problem. Now, these days, I think a lot about climate solutions. Technologies that can take greenhouse gases out of the atmosphere, technologies that can reduce greenhouse gas emissions to zero, and technologies that can protect us from already inevitable climate events. There is already some encouraging news. Global adoption of clean energy and electric vehicles has outpaced predictions. We also have technologies for alternative food sources, from plant-based to cultivated alternatives to milk and meat products. These technologies are available here and now. We're also learning how to use nature-based and human-made protection against the climate events such as flood and fire. For example, here in Watsonville area, a lot of people are working on wetland restoration for flood protection. In tropical regions, the similar efforts go with respect to mangrove trees and coral reefs restoration. So why aren't those technologies implemented at the pace that is demanded by the urgency of the situation? We don't invest enough money. Now, as I shared, thinking about money is my job. So how much money do we need to solve the climate change problem? The Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, which is a large group of experts who are thinking about all things climate, they estimate that we need about $6 trillion a year to prevent the situation from getting worse. Now, let me break it down. $6 trillion a year divided by 8 billion people we have in the world adds up to about $750 per person per year, or $2 a day. Now, this amount might seem insubstantial to some of us, but most of the world population live in the regions with much lower economic wealth than our own. They cannot afford to pay $750 a day, and it would be unfair to ask them to. The wealth of developed countries is built on a century and a half of emitting greenhouse gases without paying for damages they're causing now and might cause for centuries to come. Since it's cumulative emissions that are causing global warming, we need to look at those cumulative emissions to figure out who is responsible. And it would make sense for those responsible to invest in green technologies and to protect regions that contributed little to climate change but are suffering the most dire consequences. Now, we can divide all the money in the world by the type of economic agents: corporations, households, governments, nonprofits. So who is investing in climate now? Nowadays, most climate investment comes from corporations and households who are investing in sustainable solutions, such as solar power, e-bikes, climate-friendly diets. The governments are also contributing either directly or through incentives. Unfortunately, we're only investing about 1/10 of what's needed. We cannot expect governments, households, and nonprofits to increase their climate spending tenfold. We need wealthy corporations and individuals to step up. Now, wealthy corporations and individuals who have a lot of savings, they put them in financial institutions for profitable investments. Globally, those financial institutions control over $100 trillion. Now, most of it is coming from developed countries, which we agree should be paying for climate solutions. So we need to direct just 6% of this money that financial institutions control towards climate solutions. Now, suddenly, $6 trillion does not sound like such a big amount. We need financial institutions to invest just 6% of their assets into climate. And these investments will be profitable because those who invest in climate solutions early will benefit the most. Convincing financial institutions that investing in climate solutions is profitable is not an easy thing, and that's what I spend most of my time thinking about. We still need a lot of innovation in that respect, and that's where you can help me. First, you can choose climate-positive financial institutions to manage your money. Take control of your savings, investment, including your pension. If you have control over your employer's savings or investment decisions, great. If you don't, you can still put some pressure on your management. Choose a financial institution, a bank, a credit union that has made climate commitments. Not only divesting from fossil fuel companies, but actively investing in companies that provide climate solutions. It might take some time to find the right financial institution, but it's well worth the effort. Second, help companies that provide climate solutions become profitable and grow by making climate-positive spending decisions in your personal and professional lives. If you don't control procurement for your company, you can request climate-friendly commute incentives or climate-friendly menus in your cafeteria. By directing your and your employer's money to companies that provide climate solutions, you help make them profitable, which makes it easier for them to attract investment from financial companies. You have power to become catalyst for financial investment in climate solutions. Ideally, we would want the government to provide such incentives, but we don't live in an ideal world, and so it's up to us to step up. It will take a global village to solve the climate change problem. But we have a global village. If we work together, and if we do a right thing and have faith that others will also do a right thing. We are in a position to decide the path that the biosphere will take in next centuries or maybe millennia. It's a daunting challenge, but it's also a privilege of our generation. I'm optimistic that we will collectively make the right choice, and that the humanity is going to live long enough to explore the universe with Earth as our thriving home base.